Hi everyone, welcome to my blog this week. This last week I went to go watch the performance of HMS Pinafore. Before this class, I'd only seen one other opera performed by KU. I absolutely love the opera of Midnight Summer Dream, so I was not sure any other opera could have matched up. However, I am very glad I kept an open mind when going into the theater to watch HMS Pinafore. I really enjoyed the songs of the production and I thought it was very well done. I would definitely encourage any KU student to go see this opera. The performance was a love story that takes place in London. The name of the play comes from the name of the ship in the play called the HMS Pinafore. Captain Coron is the captain of the ship and he has a daughter named Josephine. Josephine was supposed to marry the First Lord of Admiralty, but she does not love him. She falls in love with Ralph, who is a sailor. Ralph also loves Josephine, but their love is forbidden because of their social classes, so she's unsure of her decision for who to love. She wanted to do what was socially acceptable and what would make her father the happiest. Being with Ralph would not do this. Although forbidden, her love for Ralph was too much for her to ignore, and eventually by the end of the play, spoiler alert, it's discovered that Ralph was switched as a child and was placed in the wrong social class. Because of this, Ralph is able to marry Josephine, which creates a happy ending, leaving the audience with smiles. This piece of theater was shown to be a satire. I looked at a review from The Guardian titled HMS Pinafore Review, Ship-Shape Satire Ramps Up the Camp. In the review, it says, and I quote, "Doubtless aiming for the good feel factor. English National Opera's first new production since lockdown is HMS Pinafore. Gilbert and Sullivan's guarded 1878 satire on class, social mobility, and Englishness." The theme of this play was what was socially acceptable at the time the play was written. This is a scene especially in the play with the love of Josephine and Ralph and how it was secret and forbidden until Ralph changes classes to a higher class. This play is definitely a satire because it presents its theme of social class through comedy. The audience was laughing with the characters throughout the entirety of the play, but the play does focus on the harshness of social rankings and how people were able to socialize based on class. In an article by Tom Williams called HMS Pinafore in the Chicago Critic, Williams says, "This comic opera satires the snobbery and hypocrisy of Victorian English social system while poking fun at traditional serious opera in the image of the British Navy." This idea of the class system is still very relevant today. There's a huge class difference between the wealthiest to the poorest social classes. I read an article from the forum that said the statistic of the wealthy and the poor. I pulled out a direct quote that said the richest 10% of the global population currently takes home 52% of the income. The poorest half of the global population earns just 8%. I personally believe it's very difficult for people to overcome this huge gap in wealth. Oftentimes the wealthy turns their shoulders to the poor, especially in times of need. I think today this is best seen through billionaires who do very little to contribute to less affluent areas or help people in need. I'd love to hear more opinions on this if you disagree or agree. But although HMS Pinafore is a story of forbidden love, it's also a story of harshness of social classes and how people choose to behave towards one another based on these social classes. Josephine and Ralph's love was forbidden, but Ralph switched to a higher class. Somehow it was acceptable for Josephine's father and the rest of society. This production was a comedic satire because it did talk about this serious issue of social ranking, but it was also a production leaving the audience happy and laughing throughout the entirety. Thank you all for coming to my blog this week, and I will see you very soon.